Hello, amigo. Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is episode 820.6. Of course, this is WEedNerdWorld. Hopefully, you guys have had a great Thursday. Pretty good day myself. Just getting done with the concert at what should have been the park, but we had to go indoors because of weather this time. Wow, that's weird. My chat popped down. What you know about a Blake sound right of might as well start breaking one up while I'm waiting for somebody to pop in. Cheers, John. Now I can fix that. I don't know what happened there, John. Cheers, some BTA Nova. How you guys doing? What are you smoking on? Hillbilly Herb, cheers to you. Jack Green Star, what up? Little Jack. EP820.6 what up? Messing up the thing there. I'm just cleaning up the tray right now. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. C99 times strawberry D. Sounds pretty good. I gotta change the angle of the dangle is not right. What up, Supreme Grape? You guys popping any new seeds or getting any new strains started? If so, what? Smoking on a toxic vape, and I've been taking my quick puffs on them myself, buddy. The carts. They're not so good. They're alright in a pinch. What's up, THC Garage? We'll roll up one of these so-called moon rocks.
So my favorite thing about cannabis grows is how they do it.
That's right. Oh, there's a camera right there. Big old fucking moon rocks. I don't even know if there's a bud in these. Who are you barking at? Oh, there's a stick, so there must be a bud in there somewhere. Back up, little bud, buddy. Come on, no. Yeah. And pull back twice before. Look at that. They got some on there. Why are you putting on in my lungs? Ow, ow. It's literally. No, but, knock it off, dude. Buddy being a butthead there behind me for some reason. Shendo going. That's a good one. Sequence was running that once upon a time ago.
Up in the ganja zone. Started from seed, I find it cheaper, then I let it come. I'm looking for some rest, trying to see some weight. It's smelling good, but I wonder, will it keep the taste? Only I keep it laced. My cinnamon makes the reaper. I sprout a new seed every year, now I'm a growing teacher. Tales of a dope speaker. Low 20 vision living. Searching for every flavor and every strain that's risen. Now here was my decision. Pick what was dominant. This one was showing sativa, and I was on to it. had the skinny leaves, and I've been around many trees, so I knew what to expect when it
What's up, McFinley?
not what I'm looking for.
Cheers to you.
Some fat leaves and a thick stem with a signature.
There we go. That should be a little better. I don't know.
Scientific mix and strains in my ganja pod. I kick it with the breeders. I germinate and start it. Sprouting tester seeds that ain't even out on the market. I walk the green
Rolling.
known for ganja macking. Only been a week.
These were moon rocks, and even during judging, I was like, man, I'm suspect. The more I break it up, I'm still thinking suspect.
Kicking dust up in the trenches, I'm a ganja soldier.
Try to make it work.
How heavy really is it? I'm on the going mission trying to find the golden ticket. It's got them jagged leaves, branches are packed and tight. Sweet and funky, something that fits my appetite. A connoisseur that's more rolling slow.
I'm pretty good. Thank you for asking me, Finley. So what do you guys think about some changes to the weed nerd world? I think they're overdue and coming. I've noticed that, again, things have blended a little bit, and as somebody that's never kind of liked to run in the same direction as anybody else or everybody else, I'm thinking I don't want to run that way no more. So, definitely thinking about doing some changes, mixing things up in the weed nerd world a little bit, or just going back to just the fucking talking shit with ego episodes. Haven't really kind of made 100% decision either way, but they are a coming for sure. Oh, tell me. The hallway there.
The cultivation of a new breed. Gotta have smell, taste, and kick like it was Bruce Lee. Gotta look like diamonds and shine like it was
Did I go under the right meeting number here or what? Yep, showed in. Double check, mix it up. Yeah, I agree. Cheers, Midwest Outlaws. Well, it's just that the Weed Nerd World was intended and set up to be like an always revolving panel. Right on. I like that. Dutch Grows 420. Well, Jack, actually, that's the conversation I wanted to have with you off air, to be honest with you. How would it change other than just cutting the Weed Nerd World? Well, I think I've had a thought into dividing it up into two different versions of the Weed Nerd World. I'm thinking about doing a Weed Nerd World focus in a Weed Nerd World sesh. The Weed Nerd World sesh would be continued to be opened up to everybody because, you know, most of the time it is just everybody wanting to become sesh now. There's definitely a lot less cannabis being talked about here in the Weed Nerd World, which kind of saddens my heart seeing how it is the Weed Nerd World. And a lot just more just kind of just life. So I could pretty much consider those to be a sesh, to where the Weed Nerd World focus, I'm thinking about just details I don't want to release too deep yet. What I'm thinking about, because much like everything else, Ah, I know. I miss the old Weed Nerd or the wormhole banners. I just, too many people have copied and turned their backs on me. So at this point, I'm not concerned about a lot of things. If you turned your back on me and decided to help out some of my foes, well, don't look for yourself in my contact book anymore. That's basically what that comes down to. Cheers, Ty. Too many people have just decided to turn their back and just support the unsupportable, basically. And yeah, I'm not good with it. It was epic. And I would like to get back to doing the nightlies again. And eventually I will. But it's got to get back to something I'm happy and comfortable being a part of. I know, Purple Thumb. It'd be nice to see you. Just seems like the shows have trickled down to a select few. Not all the shows. There's definitely a few. The open link has spoiled YouTube. It has certainly. For life. Cheers. Southern BT. I agree. You got to be proud of what you're doing. And yeah. I don't know. It's got to be original. One of the cool things about being a nerd was nobody else was doing it. Or there was a lot of we didn't walk the same path. That's for sure. We don't. I didn't know people turn their back so easily. Green fingers. And it is territorial. If you're putting out a cannabis show, you try to do it to be different than everybody else. You don't want to be the same show as everybody else. At least I don't do it to be the same show as everybody else. Joe, whenever you want to do an episode, let me know, brother. What's up, New Air, man? How many people have you seen start here and now are everywhere? WEedNerdWorld was at one point something special, but now it's just another show. What up, Riz? I've seen many go to the dark side too. I don't know. I like to stand proud, liking to think I haven't changed my shit, and I still ain't trying to sell or fucking pull money out of you guys' pockets. I love that about myself. Cheers. Here's not having to buy nothing or worry about buying nothing while you're here. Cheers. What in the hell are we listening to? What up, I grew some? Oh, we got Mac Miller playing. I miss the organic takeovers too with Smiley. I wish they would come back as well. Tons of respect for my good friend Smiley. That's a true friend right there. Full show. It's got too many people that I guess rather than help out and wanting to keep the channel going, that they just said, well, I'll go other places. There's other boxes open. What up, St. Bernard, CJ? What up, Miranda Family Farms? So, I guess, any questions? You guys like to ask me anything? Is this an MMA? Ask me anything episode? What you guys want to know? You guys got a question about me? Jack Greenstone. All right. I heard a PI put 20K on my dog. Mr. Jack popping in. He gets his stuff together.
What up, Eagle? I'm just gonna be audio probably for tonight while I can hang.
Oh,
how you doing?
Cool, I like those nights. Nights I can just kick up and fucking pick my nose and shit behind the camera and just.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to be on camera or off camera and just call in.
I agree.
I'll say this. One thing is to remember it's not bad to sort of be a launching pad at times for some people. Some people are gonna blast off and go off and do their own other things, and some people are gonna hang around. One of the things with the Weed Nerd world, at least for me, and fucking talking shit with Eagle generally, is kind of it reminisces to the sub-cool days of, a Weed Nerd coming on, jamming some good tunes, talking some shit, talking about grow primarily, about weed growing, breeding, and things like that. And the other thing was it was consistency. He was there in the morning streaming. He'd get up in the afternoon. He'd find him on Instagram, see him online at night. And in the early era of, this show, you were able to come on every single day. And that consistency allowed some of the people, every night to jump in. And I get life changes. So obviously, I don't think anybody was going to expect you to do it every single night forever. But when the schedule changes up, whether it's the start time or how often you're able to make it happen, for whatever the reason is at the time, I think it pushes some people to go exploring for new things to fill that void of, I've got some time tonight, I'm bullshitting, there's nothing on to watch, there's this cannabis show, maybe I'll jump in. And to be honest, like, I'm not one who really goes and jumps around a whole bunch of shows, but like, I haven't been here as much just because I was busier with life and work and things in general. But I could also see at times how others kind of jump around. Like
I
this
get
is
that. I get
no
that.
shot at
The
anybody.
same aspect. We've had this very same conversation over the years. We've talked about reruns. We've talked about people coming on. I've reached out and, I even offered the olive branch to, do other shows, co-hosts, all that. And anytime that I offered, it's the same thing that like any other time, crickets. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to show up when it's on, but when it comes to the responsibility or wanting to, you know, put in the work, nobody wants to put in the work. It's just easier to click and like you're saying, oh shit, I can just go hop on over here. Fuck that responsibility shit. So at some point, I do get the inconsistency and all that, and at one point, I noticed all that. I did feel that necessarily that need to come back on every night. You know what I mean? Because it was that the hub. You know what I mean? Where everybody came and shit and fucking hung out. And then little by little, the nights I didn't show up, I noticed, oh, well, they they scatter quickly. So I felt less and less needed. So as I seen them scatter more and more, the less I felt like I had to show up nightly because they had something to do. So in the same aspects, yes, I've tried to put out every possibility scenario to keep the nightlies going and be as consistent as I want to be. But when it comes down to it, it's just easier for people to fucking do what they want to do and turn their backs. You can go, well, not today. And that's cool. But I'm seeing a lot more people being a little bit more butthurt now that I'm going, I got better shit to do. I'm gonna go look around.
Yeah, I
So
respect that, man. I mean, if people aren't showing up, or if it's just the same, maybe a couple people, or the people that used to show up are showing up elsewhere, and then putting the other things ahead of this, then I can see why it'd be frustrating. But I will say there's a dedicated crew of, I don't know, 50 or 100 or however many more there is that show up usually each night and hang out if and when they can. And and that being said, you got to do what makes you happy, and you got to do something that makes you proud. And if it starts feeling too much like every other show, then it's time to reevaluate course and try and course correct back to where you're going to be happy with it, where you're going to be proud of it, where you're like, if Subcool was fucking still alive today, he'd be like, damn, that's a show I want to watch. Or fucking looking down on you now, you want him to say, damn, I'm proud of fucking Eagle for putting this content out that's killer shit. Talking about the dank, teaching people how to grow the dank, showing people his own dank, breeding his own dank, fucking putting it out, selling, or not selling, but getting seeds out to the community, like the DOA project. That stuff's the stuff that I think is all where the focus needs to be. And like, I get that the DOA project probably has frustrations, just like my Velvet Punch project had frustrations with 50% of the people not growing the seeds that you send them for free. And you go through the efforts of, writing out these descriptions and spending the time growing it in your garden and all the efforts and dedication and that stuff. It can be a little bit of a kick to the nuts when some people will just take the shit and then never talk to you again. And, or even like in some cases, just like grow it out, it's not like get the benefit from it and then never even share any pictures or any information or whatever. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot of little shit to be frustrated about, but at the same time, I think it's always be grateful, I guess, and realize that it might be a little bit of a downtime or a rut, but it's in those times that we are best able to honestly evaluate and look around at what do we want to do? Where do we want to take this ship? You're the fucking captain. This is your boat. You're out in the middle of Lake Michigan, and you could steer course back to fucking shore, or you could head up to Canada. It's like the world is your oyster at this point. You could fucking go any way you want, and there's power in it, but also it can come with difficulty. You know, which direction do I want to take it? You've got endless potential, endless opportunity, but at the same time, you don't want it to be like a hole that you're just throwing time and energy and efforts into. You want it to be something that you can kind of celebrate and be happy to pass out business cards or stickers or whatever to people at grow shops or events and things like that. I do like the recent, more so, well, not recent, you've been doing this for a long time, but that you've been doing a little bit more of the focus on going to events. Like from what I understand, you've always kind of been an events guy. Like when you took your daughters there for the first time, everybody's like, "Oh, what's up, Eagle? Hey, Eagle, fucking Eagle!" Like, you know, they all know you. So like, I liked living vicariously through you because I'm out here fucking at work and I can watch Mendo Dope come perform in Michigan or go watch some, you know, Gems and Genetics, you know, event or something that I'd never be able to make it to. But living vicariously through you, I can walk around the event with you and kind of get that experience of your daughter seeing everybody react to Eagle and or even just being like, "Hey, I just met you for the first time. Are you okay with being on camera?" Yes. Okay, cool. Show me what you got. What are you selling? What's your Instagram? Like, you know, that's a fun time. And I think stuff like that keeps it fresh. And just hopefully people, the fucking alumni, keep jumping back in. You know, some of these nights I just see it's like you and Smiley. I'm like, where is everybody? Fuck. A lot of people have fallen off. So it is
The alumni
incumbent on
are
myself.
made that are like, you know, them you guys, the ones that helped me get this going. A lot of props to you and respect to you, Jack. You know, I've given you that over the years, but you know, you really made me feel like I was on to something when I got this going. You never really outright said it, but you just kind of, you know, gave me you watched, you listened, and rather than and again, a good friend would take criticism and know it's and if criticism comes from the right place, it's very valuable. And you always sidestep the criticism a little bit. You just kind of like a nice little here, check out this book. And when I like look at the book, I was like, I know what he's doing here. I know what he's doing here. But you did. You helped push me in the right direction and you helped mold the spots, the rough edges that I had at the time. You helped smooth out with a little bit of advice and a little bit of here, check out this link and whatnot. But I got a lot of respect for all the guys, the alumni, if you will, you, Tao, Smiley, shit, the list goes on and on. Johnny Candace, the guys that were all here night after night talking about cannabis. And we all, cannabis is what brought us together, but in the end, we all kind of divulged and, you know, a little bit about ourselves and became a little bit better friends or what we called friends. Looking back now, well, some of those friends, I don't know if I'd call friends, more acquaintances now, but at the time we thought we were building some pretty damn strong friendships, that's for sure.
Just like real life though, man, some people will reveal exactly who they are over time. Nobody can be fake forever. People that present themselves as being one type of way, Mr. Friendly, Mr. I'll do anything for you. When the fucking curtain closes, the show's over and shit hits the fan and you actually need some help, the real friends are going to show up. It might not be you know, the first experience for me was when I had to stop smoking weed for a little bit in high school. It's like I thought I had this big group of friends and realized, oh shit, there's only actually like a handful of these people that are actually here for me. You know, there are a lot of convenience people and individuals that were around if we had weed or a bong or a place to smoke, and like they weren't true friends because as soon as that shit got cut out, nothing else kept them around. And the show is kind of an example of that. Like when you go through a hard time and you're not able to keep the show running the same way it is, the people that are around and encouraging you and, you know, trying to keep you doing it are the ones that I think are truly friends of yours and friends of the show generally. And from my own perspective, I do still think that you're onto something, and I do still encourage you and others because I believe that content creation, as much as we might take it for granted now that, you know, we've both done a couple hundreds or thousands or however many episodes or hours of content, we take for granted that we're some of the very few people that are actually doing this and coming out and, you know, putting ourselves on camera, talking. And granted, there's more podcasts probably now than ever, and some of them never really get too many eyes or ears, but we've developed pretty strong, albeit maybe niche communities that we can come together. And, you know, I know there are people that have looked out for each other personally in regular life, not just like on the weed internet, you know, like people went out of their way to make sure people had things they needed and did things for each other, and will continue to behind closed doors, not in public, not for sort of clout or Instagram likes, but because they actually care about each other and
I know,
they
and
want to
that's
be a part of the
probably
community.
one of my biggest flaws right there. You know, when I did have problems a little bit, you know, throughout this process, and that was some of my amazing friends did try to help, I kind of got fucking mad. My pride got in the way, and I got mad because they offered that help. I chased away a lot of fucking great people. As soon as I shut this damn fucking pump, perfect time, and chased away a lot of great people not willing to accept some help when I should have, you know, smiled and took that advice and help from some great people. But you're right, you know, this is amazing community, and I've seen a lot of what you're talking about firsthand. Jack, 100%. Cheers, Russ.
Cheers, man. I'm getting on here. I'm feeling guilty.
Hey, we all do. We all got to punch that ticket. You know, we all owe it to the show. We all owe it to Eagle. We all owe it to each other. The community is not a community if we don't show up and we don't hang out. We don't have these great conversations, you know? And,
Right. And apologize too, right? You know, I mean, I told Eagle I was coming to Michigan and I was going to do all this stuff. And then I just want to apologize because I don't want to be that guy who says something and does the opposite thing, right? And when mom and dad died, and especially when dad died, I don't know what I'm doing now, man. So I just want to apologize, Eagle. I ain't forgotten. And I said it all online. I don't want to be that guy who says it and then just lets it go. You know what I mean?
Don't worry.
So I'm working through what I'm doing right now, man. I may be here for a while. I may buy this house. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like,
That's what's important.
but I just
there's nothing better than being a man of your word, though, Rez. So I feel because you're probably like that so consistently, when you tell people something, you do it, you're going to do it. And so you're feeling bad because this is inconsistent for yourself. So, you know, it's one of those things as a person who, when you say something, you do it and you're so used to doing it. But you also have to be able to give yourself a break because as somebody who's lost a father and a grandfather over the last couple of years, I'll tell you, it fucks with your mind and it does shit that you never would have thought. Fucking, even if it was expected, even if you saw it coming from a mile away, it's never easy and it'll throw a little bit of a wrench. But I just think the best thing to do is, even if you told them you're going to come to Michigan and maybe it didn't happen this year, fucking make it happen next year, next 6 months or next 2 years. I've told some people I'm going to come visit you. And it wasn't 3, 4, maybe 5 years later, but I sure as fuck did. And eventually when I did, we had a great ass time. And those people will remember that shit forever. And I remember it forever too. And those experiences are what make life worth living. And sometimes we have little roadblocks and delays, but just never put it on the side burner for too long. Good things come to those who wait, but don't wait too long. Some quote I heard, I think today in the country song.
Right. And we can lose relationships because we say something out of our heart that we really want to do and we haven't thought it through enough, right? We haven't taken the time and think, how long is it going to take? How am I going to put this together? And you know, there's a lot of things that have happened since my dad died. And I just didn't want to be here, right? I just wanted to be somewhere else. I wanted to be around somebody I could trust. And you know, Eagle's been one of the few people over the last 3 years that I know I can trust, right? So I was going that way. There hadn't been a lot of other people out in my old circle of people before I went to California that even talked to me anymore. You know, not that they talked to me and called me all the time, but they didn't ever, you know, they just didn't check in. So when I opened my mouth and I said I'm doing something, I teach what the scripture says and I try to live it. It says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. And then if you've made a commitment, you need to go back and, you know, work through it. You need to let somebody know, hey, I said this, but man, I really meant it, man, but I gotta work through this, right? So I want to make my yes a yes and my no a no, because then I know I stay dependable when people can count on me, right? So
Nothing better than that in life, man. I showed up to work at a 1 o'clock appointment on Tuesday. Before I rang the doorbell, the individual opened the door because I'm there so frequently, right at 1 o'clock. Like I used to be that guy who was late to everything. And I never really put two and two together that it's kind of being disrespectful to other people's time and just to them in general. If I'm showing up late, it's not because it's like, oh, I was a little disorganized or whatever. It's like I'm telling them, whether I say it or not, by my actions, that I care more about my time and whatever fucking bullshit I was doing at home that made me late than I care about their time. And with my job, I have people that really count on me. Like sometimes, a kid might get dropped off from school and there's no parents home. And if I don't show up, then there's no way for that person to get dropped off. They might have to get taken back to the fucking school. And then there's a whole fucking situation. Like they need me to be fucking there. And being somebody, that consistency, like, makes you somebody that is trustworthy. It makes you like a eagle. When I talk to Eagle, I know he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. I know he's been training his ass off to go run this 10-mile race. And I've been seeing him post all the stories of him running on the fucking treadmill or running wherever he is, working out, hitting the bike, doing all the things that he needs to do because he's going to fucking go run that race. He's not just talking about it, he's being about it. And that's one of those things I respect.
Yeah. Sticking to your commitment, right? And part of that sticking to our commitment is if a wrench gets thrown in it, we go back to people and we say, hey man, there's been a wrench thrown in. So many times in life we just say, I can't do it, and then we never talk to the person again. Right.
Well, yeah. And sometimes giving them the bad news earlier actually allows them to, let's say it's like a nice fancy dinner or something, and each plate costs X amount of dollars. If you get sick or your kid gets sick or your car breaks down or something and now you can't make it, the sooner you let them know, or like, let's say you fucking double booked yourself or whatever the hell the case is. If I let somebody know as soon as possible, then they have much more time to, deal with whatever that thing is. And it kind of reminds me a little bit unrelated, but like some of my friends from my, childhood or high school days, I'd have them saved in my phone. I'd keep getting new phones and this and that. And like a couple people, I realized I'd send them a text on their birthday, and then I'd send them a text on their birthday again the next year. And that'd be the only text message that we were sending to each other. And I was like, how much do we really care if that's the only conversation? And I think that was like a Facebook era thing. Like everybody would see it's so-and-so's birthday. So you write on their wall or send them a text. But I'm like, the people I care about, I'm going to make the effort to reach out to at least more than once a year, in my perspective.
Appreciate everything, right? Keep the things you need and get rid of the weight. I'm sitting at my dad's desk, right? Where my dad worked all the time, even after he retired, continued working, doing stuff, right? To continue to produce income. And I just threw away computer books and software that he has. It's from Office 2000. Stuff sitting around that was useful at one point, but now it's just, I bought it. I don't know why he kept all this stuff. I mean, it was everywhere. It's everywhere. And it's like, maybe he was going to go back to and reference it. But I think he came from that, he's born in 36. He came from that. I paid for it. It's useful for something and I'm going to keep it around. But I just literally just threw away stacks of Gateway computer. I ain't even heard of Gateway computer in years. They're not around anymore, right? So all the manuals from Gateway, just that kind of stuff. It was just like, oh my word. And my sister said it was the same thing when she was cleaning out mom's stuff. It was just like, you cannot believe all the stuff that we can keep around, Eagle, and we can try to think it's going to be good for something, but it's not doing anything for us and it just becomes a weight. But then we don't want to throw it away because it was useful sometimes. Now, people we're talking about, because you were talking about people not coming back and forth, people are always useful and they can always be forgiven. So we don't throw them away, but we just can't keep worrying about that person anymore if they're not around and not talking to us anymore. You know, we love them. See, you want to walk back in and be like just it was before? Sure, man, I'll take you back. And you know, but if you're not going to be here, I can't just say I'm going to keep the same emotions. I don't know. I guess that's the right thing to say. The same emotions.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
that's fair. Well, and I think it's also a little bit of a Great Depression era scarcity mentality. They grew up in that era where if they didn't directly experience it, their parents just came out of it. And we went from a country of abundance to a country that was deeply in financial struggles. Some might argue we're in similar era now, but hopefully it doesn't get that bad. Who knows? But just focusing on that era, a lot of the people that lived afterwards and their kids and their grandkids
It's
real
funny though, right?
think, yeah, you think like, oh, I need to hang on to this because like you said, I paid for it, so I need to store that value and like stuff like that.
This is like
The
this is a stack of notepads, right? And there's like multiple of these big ones, right?
Yep.
My dad kept every single piece of paper from his mail and everything that had a flat, had a clear back, because he would cut them into fours and use them in notepads, even though he had 100,000 notepads there. I mean, these are everywhere. These things are everywhere in stacks, man. And I'm like, I mean, I'm still using pens that are government issued pens, and he ain't done anything for the government in 20 some years. I mean, I'm talking pens from that Nixon was using. He was in
And
the
they're probably
office.
worth something now. Collector pen, fucking
I mean,
1970s
you open
U.S.
the
government.
drawer. But the funny thing is that I go to my pen collection upstairs and I got a whole jar full of ink pens, and they're just shoved all full of ink pens. And I can look back through them. I'm like, I worked for that company, and that was '90s, and that was like, what am I? I opened a piece of paperwork yesterday of my own, or last week when I was burning stuff, and I'm like, what do I have this from 1994 for? What? Why was this in here? Why do I still have this? You know? And I'm like, burn, burn, burn.
Most comical thing I've seen out of a hoarder's house as of late, and this was recently, was a box. When I mean box, I mean this box was at least a foot by foot by foot square of government issued condoms from 1920.
From what?
Oh my god.
1920. And didn't want to get
1920.
rid of the box. I'm like, who are you going to give these to? These are no good. These are no good. These are not even collector items. These are no.
Yeah, those are getting anyone pregnant who tries them.
Okay, here's one. It's a coffee maker, and they cost like $500 to $800. The Gagabaria, I think that's how you pronounce it. Gagabaria, whatever. It's an automatic coffee maker, and it does everything. And it's an espresso machine. They're a wonderful machine if you like coffee. But he got his first one not by buying it. My sister gave him his old one because she bought a new one. It was still working fine. He had it for a while. It stopped working. He bought himself a new one because he liked it so much, right? He can afford to buy it. So now he's been given something from somebody else, got the taste of the thing nice, and he wasn't even a coffee drinker before. Now he's a coffee drinker, right? I go into the back porch, well, the mud room on the back, right? Coming into this house, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I didn't even look in these boxes. Before anybody else gets back here and wants to keep all this stuff around, I'm starting to get rid of more stuff. And I opened the box and I'm like, what is this machine? He has a machine where you pack with ice, you fill it with water. It's brand new. Fill it with water, and it pumps cold air out of that into a thing you put on like your back from the ice. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'll put that back in and put it away. I open the next one. It's the old coffee machine that doesn't work anymore. He put it back in the box of the new one he got and closed it up and put it on the back. And I'm
Hey, in
like,
case you need spare parts there.
that's exactly why. But I was like, no way, man. I went right to the dumpsters. I just like, get out of here, man. I was like, but that's what it was. Spare parts. And he's an engineer, so he can fix anything, you know. So, but I was like,
I bet
Okay,
you some
man.
of that stuff went to use. So like the 1 out of 100 times that he found a spare part from the old coffee maker that fixed the new coffee maker made him keep those fucking cords, like the fucking VCA cord or whatever, like the fucking huge thick ass plugs that would go into the old monitors. I had
He
some of those for years after I only had HDMI capable screens for like 5 years before I got rid of that big thick blue. You got to screw it into the back of like a tower computer, and then it goes to a monitor that has a similarly large fucking plug. And
right.
I don't know why I was holding it. Like, what was? And I'm young. I have no fucking purpose for it, and I knew it was not going to be used. But I held
Listen,
on to it.
my phone is leaning on a notebook that's leaning on a computer screen hooked to a computer he didn't even use anymore, and they were all plugged into the back of a APC, the big APC battery backup that I gave him when I moved out of the house in Keedysville. And I said, here, you take this, don't leave this here, you take it, you've helped me, you've done this, take this home, use it, right? He
That's
brought it. It doesn't charge anymore.
loving that gives me loving memories of the childhood of the days of the fucking TV set on the big old TV. You remember
On
that?
top of the old one.
Yeah, yep. The big old fucking 19 fucking stereo TV combo just right on top. Perfect for it. Yeah.
My brother, we just threw one away, and it wasn't the wood one that you use for the new one that they helped as it upgraded and became plastic. We set it on top of the old wood one, right? It was like we never did that, right? If it didn't work, my dad was a TV
Walked into
technician.
houses that had triple stacks.
That's wild. I've seen pictures of that eagle, and I thought it was a
The
meme.
pyramid went up and shit to the foil the rabbit ears. Oh yeah.
I told my sister today, I said, you know what? I made it. There was an itemized piece done for the house, right? So they come in and itemize everything, right? For appraisal. If you're got 4 of you and you got to split it all, and you pick out what you want, you decide what you want, there's a price on it. But there was like an itemized, and it could have went more. There was over 800 items, right? And that's glassware. And some of those items are 8 of these, 12 of these, 10 of these, a dozen of these, a closet full of these. That's the whole closet is one item, not everything in the closet. There's like 800 pieces on it. I'm like, oh my word. We tried to get my parents to move for years. My mom was always like, I don't want to deal with moving all the stuff. We'd be like, pay for a mover. Have them come in and move everything, watch them over. But it's glassware, right? It's like my mom is like a lot of women. They know how to decorate a house, right? So they got every curio cabinet in a certain pattern, and they got pieces of the glass there. But in the closet, they got the rest of grandma's set. But they got 2 pieces or 5 pieces in the cabinet. And then you just start opening cabinets. You're like, oh, there's like glassware. There's like, this is from this grandmother. This is from this grandmother. And then this is like, oh, this is from her wedding, right? 60 some years ago, you got stuff from her wedding everywhere. I mean, every piece that they had, I'm like, my dad still has the Sears sprinkler, the one that goes that I was jumping through when I was 3 years old. And it still works. It's in the garage. It's plastic and it still works. And I'm like, people just throw away stuff now and they go through it so fast. But this generation, I'm amazed, man. I'm just like, okay. I'm just like, I waste too much stuff, I guess. And then I'm looking around going, okay, some of this stuff could have went, and they know it could have went, but they just didn't. They finally got to the age where they're like, we ain't living around much longer. We'll keep it all nice and clean, but if it's in the closet, I ain't worried about that closet anymore. Not hoarding it. Perfectly clean closet, perfectly organized, everything in its place. I mean, this house had everything in its place. But when you walk out on that back porch, the back porch was kind of like that drawer every man wants in the woman's kitchen. but it's just random stuff in there. It's just like the random screwdriver, the random wrench, the random. Yeah, that's my don't. What did you straighten up my drawer for? I knew where that mess was at, right? Well, that's how it was at my house. We always had one drawer that was like the tool drawer in the kitchen, where you could have
A
stuff.
little bit of everything drawer.
Yeah, a little bit of everything drawer, right? But I walked where all that stuff was on the back porch. My mom has one of those nice bag things. It's like a tube where you shove all your bags in. You can use the little ones later for trash bags, right? Well, that's fine. It's stuffed. There's probably 500 stuffed in that thing, right? Or 200 of them. I went on the back porch and there was a box of them, of every little plastic bag that he kept. And I'm like, how many do you need? I'm like, I guess you just don't throw away anything that could be useful. I mean, it's just. Now the California bags you can keep every one, and I would keep every California bag I got to buy. But the ones out here, you put the corner of a 5-ounce thing too fast into the bag at Walmart, and it rips the bag. It's not like California bags.
Yeah, California needs some rain. Look at that fucking dry field. Cheers, SoCal.
They got a hurricane coming.
We need rain like crazy.
I'll say.
Enjoy that hurricane.
We got it all year. Shit. I mean, the first 6 months was nothing but rain.
No, this is the first hurricane that you're going to see since 1930s. Getting ready to hit you. It's working its way up.
We had one not that long ago, actually. It's just it didn't hit direct. Maybe the first one to break land or something.
Yeah, it came up through
that one.
That you're talking about the one that came up through Baja. That was November.
Yeah,
I think it was
not too
November.
long ago,
though. I was still there when that came up.
I'll say this, funny enough, in Ohio, when people had too much shit, a lot of the farmers, instead of burning it, they'd just bury it. They'd go out to a random ass spot in the middle of their fucking farm, dig a big ass hole, and it could be a car, it could be a fucking dresser, it could be some toys, it could be some glassware. They would just dig a fucking ditch and bury it. And then you see some people buy a farm now, and they start going through the land, and they find all this random ass shit just buried in the fucking ground, like mostly decayed, but some of it's still.
I can take you to my buddy's farm in Maryland, where he fixed it when they made him do all this work for runoff and did all the stuff the state did to keep the stuff away from the creeks. And he had to put in new, concrete ponds. I was like, where'd all that equipment go? He was like, back there. They had an area that had all these holes, and they just took and buried farm equipment, old farm, rotten farm. I'm talking big pieces where they needed tracos to have the holes. There's just like, I'm like, you buried? I said, he's like, yeah. He said, hey, the prices get outrageous for steel. He said it ain't rusting as fast in the ground. He said, I can always go dig it up.
Yeah, when I was opening up more spots in my yard for my gardens, I was coming up across all kinds of shit that I was finding buried. I found a fucking blender.
Really?
Like 2 feet down, there was a blender.
Gotta love it.
Well, you find if you undid some walls and some houses built, you find some interesting thing that carpenters leave in the walls.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what, if you go to the house I grew up in, my bedroom from when I was a little kid, somewhere in that wall, there's a fucking like 1980s Swatch watch in there. I got all pissed off at my parents one night and punched a hole in the wall. And I was making my bed, and my watch was like on the bed. And I went and shook the blanket to, flatten it out and straighten it. The fucking watch launched perfectly, fucking nothing but net right through that fist-sized hole in my wall.
That's like instant karma right there. You're all pissed off, being shitty, just fucking romping around your room, like being an asshole. And then fucking it just like kicks you right in the nuts. I've been on some
demo sites, right? You go on the demo site and you're tearing out walls in this whole building, and you're like, oh, there's a sack of cash, man. How much you got in here? Oh, you got 20 in this, you got 5, you got a bunch of ones. Start tearing up floors in old houses. You're like, yeah, there's change everywhere that fell through the cracks. They told me down here, the building, watch now, this is the police station. This is why I'm saying I'm in Tennessee. I live 120 yards from the police station, and I can hit the high school, middle school, elementary with a baseball. I mean, I'm like, my whole house is lit up. I got lights from the parking lot of school just light my house up. It's not the, it's, but they don't have to worry about me. We got meth being sold down the street. I can't believe it, man. This place has changed so much. But anyway,
It's everywhere, Res, sadly. It's a plan, it's a fucking plot. It was introduced by fucking higher ups in the fucking government. So.
And the mayor is my neighbor and friend, right? I've known him since '97. And he said, yeah, you stick around. He said, you can run for alderman next year. What? All right, I'm gonna go into politics, guys.
Hey, you guys got some of the best gun laws in the fucking country.
Tennessee?
Yeah.
I got a felony though, so I gotta go to Maryland, and now that Maryland's legal, to see if I can get my felony revoked. So I'm hoping I can.
Yeah.
An ounce of weed, and they can have an ounce and a half on them. So I'm hoping it won't be a big deal when I get to Maryland. If I ever finally get out of here, and I need a road trip, right? I just want to drive. I just, I sold my Excursion. Guy around the corner bought my Excursion, so I'm down to one vehicle, and yeah, things are looking up. Did you get that picture I sent you, Eagle? Yesterday, yeah. I sent a picture. I was out at my parents'. I said I was never going to go back because it was a bad experience. I had the day they buried my dad, but you finally get over it and you grow up a little bit, and you forgive yourself, forgive other people, mainly forgive yourself for acting like an idiot. And I bought grass seed and raked it, and I've been out there twice today putting water on it so the seed would germinate. I'm like, I'm germinating seeds. I need to bring some cannabis seeds out here just to see how long that goes. See if somebody finds them, throw them on top of the grave site and go out and water them every day. So anyway, this crazy thing. There's a little tiny church. Most of my family's back, but we've been in this area almost 200 years. So there's probably 40, just in these two little cemeteries, there's probably 40 members of my family out there. And you can go to every grave site within probably every one within 20 miles of here, and you'll find somebody in my family in the cemetery.
Random question you were just talking about planting weed on a gravesite, essentially. I saw somebody joked, like, if you ever kill somebody and you want to bury them, to plant some exotic or endangered flower species on there so that people can't dig it up. But I also saw somebody who's like, this is going to be my coffin or whatever when I'm dead. It was like weed blooming out of the gravesite. And if you grew weed plants at a gravesite, even if it was in Tennessee or something, and somebody came and chopped them down, let's call it law enforcement or whoever, I wonder what would take precedent. Is the defiling a grave statute going to be enforced over the illegality of cultivating cannabis? I'm assuming they're just going to say, oh, we're going to fucking chop it down because it's illegal. But you're not allowed to go and dig up people's graves, right?
No, that takes an act of Congress, because I told the guy when I asked my dad's coffin was supposed to be open for me because I wanted to see him one last time for a reason. And I showed up after everybody left. We're supposed to leave. My cousin was kind of running the thing. I got a cousin who works for one of the local judges in the judicial system for the kids. It's not in a criminal court. They take care of all the kids and his families and all that kind of stuff, right? It's kind of probably some of the stuff you deal with, Jack. People who are in problems and they need help in their families, right? But anyway, what was I saying? It didn't go well. And when I showed up, I thought my brother, the one who wanted to put a gun in my head, was standing there, because I had said he could be there because I told him I wasn't going to go. But I was going to do my own service. as soon as they were going. And he was there, and I went by and I run like this. I was because I just giving him the finger. Well, it was the mortician. It was the guy from the funeral home. And when I came back out of the woods, turned around and came back 2 minutes later, he started lowering my dad's casket, and he wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to I was like, "What are you doing?" So it ended up being a very confrontational. And my cousin was standing there. I'm like, and he works for the judge. I said, "You see this, right?" I said, "I'm 1/4 of this estate." And I said, "I have a right to tell him what to do. And he's going against my wishes." I didn't want the coffin dropped. And they went ahead and dropped it right in the ground. That day, if I'm not a sane man, he was in the ground that day, because it threw me over the edge. It was one of those days that I'm not proud of, but I was willing to put the mortician in the ground that day. So that's the idiot I was acting like that day. But when you lose somebody, you can say some stupid.
Rightfully emotional in that time, and especially when the respect isn't being paid for your family when you specifically made requests in advance. So I can see why you're upset, and we all, probably think and say some things that we don't actually mean at times when we're emotional like that.
It wasn't conveyed by my brother. He didn't convey it. He was the one handling it. And I thought that he was going to listen to me and honor my request, but he had no, he said, "I wish I wouldn't have called you and told you dad died." So we're fine now, I guess. But things get said and things get heated, and that's why he took off, because it was not good for either one of us actually to be around each other much, right, for a few weeks, because it was almost a blow a few times. It was like, yeah, you want to go? Come on, man. You got to do this. We're going to do it right now. Just get it over with. But what I was saying is I'm back out there now, and I'm watering it and take care of it. But there's two churches, right? There's two churches out there. There's literally two churches that are not even more than 100 feet apart. And I'm like, this is crazy. Where's the unity here? You guys have this. You both say you love Jesus, but you can't get along. And you got to have two churches that close together out in the middle of the country. You can't see a house from these churches.
It's like Starbucks, brother. Man, they got to have one on every corner.
Starbucks and 7-Eleven.
Well, as my mate, there's a guy behind me who's a super sweet older guy. He's like 79. I think Terry's 79. He still plays golf. I couldn't do that with my back. And so kudos to Terry. But he was like, some people just want to worship different than the others. I'm like, I get it, but I like it. To me, it just seems like disunity, like no unity. And it's in a place where the union's in the name of the town.
Hey, Jack, are you still in North County, Jack?
Yeah.
Can you guys see all the smoke from that fire going on right now?
Nope. Where I'm at, it's clear, super clear.
Oh, okay.
The fire in Hawaii, or is there a fire in California somewhere?
It's in Potrero.
Okay.
Like right by the border at Tecate.
Yeah, I think that might be I'm so close to the coast that with the offshore winds and stuff, maybe it's being blown more inland, because I'm not seeing any of it. And I'm only less than 50 miles, probably closer to like 30 miles or something like that from the coast or the border.
Okay. Well, I'm like, where I'm at right now, I'm probably, as the crow flies, 15 miles from the border.
Yeah, you're definitely closer than me over there.
Yeah.
How close are you guys to downtown?
30.
Right now I'm about hour and a half east of downtown.
Oh, you're closer to Arizona.
Nah.
Well, you're
a little ways.
You're at the top. You're past the top of the hill, right?
I'm on top of the hill right now.
I'll say you're past the casino. You're at the top of the hill.
Almost. I'm up on Sunrise Highway right now.
Up on 8. Did you
past the
go
hot springs down 10?
Where?
Like past the hot springs down I-10?
No, I'm up on Mount Laguna right now.
Oh, okay.
But do you go up 8 to get there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm actually like right now, I'm probably about half a mile to a mile off of the 8.
Okay.
Like north, I guess it would be. But that's why we're getting this badass sunset. Or that's why I was asking Jack, because there's that fire going on at the border right now, and we're getting the killer sunset from it.
Oh man.
Yeah, and the sunsets this year have been awesome. Awesome year for sunsets.
I'll tell you
I
what.
love the Lake Michigan and Lake Erie in Ohio. I think have some of the best. Sorry, go ahead. It's okay.
Oh, that's all good. I think lately, since I've been out, scouting my deer spots, I'm starting to think the sunrise is better than the sunset.
I was talking about that yesterday, to be honest with you. And I don't doubt that, SoCal. But for me, this is the difference. I spent I'm 51 now. You know what I mean? I spent the majority of my life at the beginning of the day. You know what I mean? I've had endless amount of sunrises that I can remember. Anymore, I'm on the opposite spectrum of that. I'm enjoying the sunsets these days. I forgot my fill of the sunrises. I want to catch the sets, man. Enjoy that nighttime, the leisurely side of life, I guess.
Well, and the sunsets on the lakes, it's like a stairway to heaven, like the reflection where it comes up where you're at in Michigan. You don't see it as well, but where it goes down, it's right over water, or at least that's where I'm at in Lake Erie, and it literally looks like a little stairway into the sky reflecting off like a giant reflecting pool. And just the colors from the sky reflecting off the lake, it's just like absolutely beautiful.
Yep.
Even the desert, though, can be like, I've seen some sunsets in Tucson that were absolutely like purple skies, like some of the most beautiful. I was just watching old Western movie, and I was like, damn, like this looks like it's fucking CGI video editing, but back then in the 60s, they didn't fucking have the CGI. Like this is just what the sun looked like. Like, can they just capture this fucking beautiful thing? And
you go to the high desert, man, there's always a good sunset.
I would have to say some of the best sunsets I've seen have been out in like Glamis, out in the sand dunes.
El Dorado is the movie, and man, fucking seeing a saguaro with a fucking purple sky behind it is just like, that's a beautiful feeling. I don't know. Living wise, so I'm happy as hell out here in California because the weather is pretty moderate most of the time. This year's been a little bit of a monkey wrench in the chain, but it's pretty fucking nice most of the time.
Apparently, we're gonna get fucking prison raped this weekend with weather.
That's what they're saying. I hope that we're not gonna get fires with these hurricanes like Hawaii.
We already got them going. I mean, shit, Potrero's on fire.
Yeah, that's true.
I just talked to my wife. She's at work, and she was saying that they're actually sending out fucking evacuations right now.
Dude, I think that there's some sketchy shit going on. There's some documentaries about the Paradise fires in California and the Hawaiian fires. And they're saying it's from January, but like some Chinese telescope was shooting green lasers down for topographical mapping. But if you Google laser to start fires for Forest Service tree, since the 1980s, the Forest Service has had some sort of laser that can start a fire from 50 to 1,500 meters away. And they said in the very press release that by the end of 89, this will be able to be used from an airplane. And by the end of 88, it's going to have a truck mounted version. And it's for, specific clearing forest fires or setting ignitions on oil spills or any other forestry related activity. But it's like, they're not like, oh, let's fuck this eminent domain lawsuit and paying people off. Let's just burn their fucking shit down. Buy their places for pennies on the dollar because we know most of them don't have fire insurance. And or in the Paradise case, they wouldn't even let them back on to go rebuild. They just closed them out of the fucking place and said, yeah, sorry, you're fucked. You can't go back.
Some of those people can't even get their money. They still haven't got the money from the insurance company.
Yeah,
they're like,
fucking
they lost their properties because they couldn't pay the mortgage.
And then we got fucking the government saying that we got aliens. Should be a good old school wormhole, rabbit hole, weed nerd world topic. But the fucking recent disclosures of the government, that makes me feel like they're dangling that puppet over here to distract us from some other shit. But
Oh,
I feel like
100%. 100%. That's all fucking, that's all, you know, look, shiny shit to your left. Don't look to the right. Look to the left.
well, and it was like they're all the big whistleblowers were also like, oh, this is a danger to us, so we need to, you know, make sure we're funding our Air Force and make sure we're funding our Space Force and make sure we're funding our Navy and this and that. And it's like a big money grab. They're trying to make us seem like, oh, we need to be afraid of this shit because we don't know what it is and we need to be able to defend from anything. So we need a bigger budget than we already fucking have.
Weapons. It's crazy because it's what my dad did, right? And those programs are literally, I mean, after World War II, we took over the world's oceans to keep everybody safe. And now everybody's saying, I can't say which way they went. I don't like things about it, right? But we're everywhere. We have bases everywhere, and there's a reason for that. You know, we did it so we could use the force that we had, we at one point we were like, we're doing this to protect everybody. And I know all kinds of other things happen, and there's greed and there's money, but a lot of that was all started from we're going to protect you. So I'm not going to judge it too much because my dad was part of the system, right? He worked on stuff. He was an engineer. So there's a good side to it and a bad side to it, right? I mean, it's just, and the thing about it is that I might build the weapon just to deter you from coming to get me. You know, I put a wall up around my house because I don't want you coming over. You move to Puerto Rico, you're probably going to want to put bars on your window to keep them from breaking in when you're not there.
I dare you to break into my house.
Well,
you want to break into my house, you know, you better stop at the front door and get right with God because you're about to fucking meet him.
But I mean, when you're not home, if they'll wait till you come home and they just empty your house.
Oh, go ahead. Hey, if you can get past the dog, go for it.
Well, not everybody has a dog, SoCal, but I mean, I get your point. But all I'm saying is my brother was robbed twice in Puerto Rico, and then they robbed everything off his sailboat after a hurricane because that's their culture. If it's open or it looks like I can get into it, it can belong to me. They're pirates.
Well, look at the shit going on. Look at the shit going on out here. You got fucking people going to the mall doing these smash and grab robberies. There's 40, 50, 60 people going in and, you know, they go into
jewelry stores have had bars on their windows for a long time in many neighborhoods, even in the nice neighborhoods, right? Because they're smart enough to realize if you sell something, you should be able to defend it as well. And it's unfortunate that every company has to think that way.
You can't have a bank and not have a vault. You know,
yeah.
Listen, there's a kid, right? This is a kid who needs loving and he needs help and he doesn't have a father around. He needs a father figure. But he walked up on me and my brother on the back of the house through the back of the mayor's yard. And I was like, what? Where the heck did you come from, man? We were having a conversation. Things were going on. And I was like, what? I said, you know what? He came and he asked for some work. We let him go pick up sticks. My brother said he'd give him $1. He came back. We gave him $2. Sit there and talk to him, try to be friends with him. The next, he's told, don't come walk into the back of the house again. You go to the front of this house. If you don't get an answer, then we're not answering, right? Don't come around the back. Boy, what do you think he did the next time? Came through the back the same way. Hey, man, can I get a couple dollars? Can I get a drink? Can I get this? It's like my brother gave him a couple yoo-hoos, because they were one of like a treat my mom would have for herself, like a yoo-hoo. That was something she got when she was older. My brother gave him both of them, didn't ask him to do anything. When he left, he took the crackers and threw them on the floor. He drank the yoo-hoo and threw them on the street up. And I walked to the post office every day and I found him one day. So I confronted this kid. And this is a project kid, right? He's from the projects. He's got 12, 13 brothers and sisters by 5 different women or whatever in his life, right? So there's not some good training going on at home, and there's not some discipline going on at home. But he came here the next time. I was out back doing a bunch of stuff, and him and another guy come walking down the side, and I walk right up to him. I put my finger right in his chest. I said, "You need to turn your ass around, walk back to the front of the house, because what did I tell you the last time?" I had this long conversation with them. Ended up giving them both. They said, "Can we get some water?" First, I said no. They asked me again. I said, "Fine, I'll go get some water." Went inside, got them glasses of water, ice cold water, purified water, gave it to them, give them to drink. Now, the other kid, he ain't an 11-year-old. He gave his 2-year-old kid brother a cigarette or a vape the other day. I found about it today. The other kid told me. And he said, the other guy said, "Yeah, he's going around telling everybody that you put your hands on him." I said, "I didn't I?" I said, "Did I hurt him? Did I hurt you guys?" I said, "You tell him, you see him." Well, I didn't say it that way. I said, "He comes back here next time, I'm going to get a hold of him by the ear and I'm going to drag him down to the police station and they can deal with him." Right. And it's like they just walk all over you. California has set up their laws so the criminals can just walk all over everybody.
You know, it is now illegal for a store owner to stop a shoplifter in California.
Yeah. And the insurance companies are leaving California.
Everything.
But on a non-political topic, what are we smoking on tonight, everybody? Or what are you drinking?
I'm drinking Guinness in
Let's
honor
talk.
of my dad, and I'm drinking. I'm smoking Swisher Sweets Leaf peach brandy.
I am smoking on some cardboard socks from Miranda Family Farms.
I was gonna say shout out SoCal. I saw you picking up some looks like probably not your garbage, but some shit that other people have been throwing out around there. And I always appreciate anybody who's willing to pick up.
Yeah, that shit pisses me off, man. A couple of weeks ago, I was on here talking about that shit. You know, I've been out looking for deer, which are San Diego has a 3% success rate for deer hunters. Oh. So, you know, it's not like you're going to find them.
Where the fuck do you even hunt, man? I've been looking around and like everyone thinks I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, but BLM, Bureau of Land Management, is fucking a mess here, and a lot of it's mixed with private land. So you really got to be fucking careful if you're going hunting.
Yep. I'm hunting. I found a spot. I'm not going to say where it's at. I've already kind of told you guys where I am. But I found a spot up here where just the other day on my trail cam, I caught it was a bachelor group of bucks. There was 14 bucks in that group. And
damn.
I've seen them now. It seems like they're coming through this area about every second to third day. So I've been up here checking my cameras and setting up my little ground lines. I'm not going to use a tree stand or a blind or any of that bullshit. I'm going straight, archery, and I'll be sitting under a bush. I'm going straight old school Indian style with it,
I was going to say, are you going bow or shotgun or rifle? But
full on bow. I went. It's funny because I've generally been a rifle hunter, but since I fucked up my shoulder, that 300 Win Mag, I can put like 4 or 5 rounds down range and I'm done.
And a fucking bow doesn't hurt your shoulder though? Fucking pulling back on the string and shit?
No, because once you pull it back, even though I'm pulling a 70-pound bow, once I get to full draw, I'm only holding 7 pounds.
Yeah, it's easy then.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a big old rifle definitely kicks. I mean, I'm a shotgun guy, and I was going to be looking for turkey, but I know the season's short, and it's hunting in San Diego is not fucking easy.
It's not.
Anything.
It is not. It is not. No, it's we have a 3% success rate with deer here, whereas you got places like Michigan or Ohio or Illinois or whatever there, Texas, and it's 100%. Like a 3% failure rate.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to success,
Drive
But what
down
I
the
was
road here
getting
too
at
fast
with
tonight, you might hit one.
what I was getting at with the whole, trash thing. I was on here a couple, I don't know, month or so ago, and I went off on a little fucking tangent about all the trash that I've been finding. I'm out 3, 4, 5 miles from the nearest paved road, and I'll come up on fucking trash, beer bottles and cans and cigarette packs and 7-Eleven cups, and it pisses me off because, like you were saying, Jack, the BLM land and all that, it's all fucked up and scattered, and more stuff's getting closed down because of shit like this. I mean, I just picked up an entire bag of trash. That
one of the only shooting spots you can go was being protested by some like hiker / jogger because people were leaving so much shit that they shot up, from steel barrels to fucking boxes and cardboard and plastics and all sorts of shit. Just people don't clean up even their shells, the shell casings. They just leave the fucking shells there.
Right. Yeah, it's bad.
And Ohio is a 40% success rate, but I mean that's a huge step change. 37% higher success rate, and that's just because 60% of the hunters who don't get something in Ohio might be going for their first time, or Ohio's a big ass state, and sometimes you literally just go out and you don't see a fucking deer the entire time because maybe you didn't do scouting, or you don't have some sort of scent attractor or some sort of bait to draw them in, which would give them a little bit higher success rates. But like you're saying, almost 50% beats the shit out of nearly 3%, which is like, damn.
And of that 3%, what was the statistic I looked up? It was like 2.275% is private land.
That doesn't surprise me. I was gonna say one of the only places I'd probably have a chance is I met a guy who's got an alpaca farm, and they've got a full-on range, and they can do their own shit on their private land. So a lot better rules when you fucking own it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just go buy a goat and kill it. It's pretty close.
Right. Well, I'm determined. I could go hunt private land, but I figured, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to be one of those 3% this year on public land.
Do it, man. I've been
doing my due diligence.
That's the only way you're going to fucking be one of those 3%. And even if it was 1%, like that 1%, fucking do it. They make it happen. Some of them, it's because that's how they put food on the table for their fucking family. Like,
there you go. That's what I was going to
the only way.
It only makes sense to me. I can't eat horns. I've always had the philosophy, I can't eat the horns, right? I'm out there for the meat. I'm not out there.
Leave that shit for the squirrels, man. Yeah, the fucking squirrels like to, and it's a bunch of protein. Some when they drop their horns,
you can kill all the squirrels you want.
But when the deer drop their antlers, the fucking animals out in the woods. I didn't know this. I lived in Ohio, and I never fucking knew that deer drop their antlers because I never came across a fucking set just laying in the woods. But they do.
Usually February, March.
Yeah, it's wild. You can grind it up. There's some companies that make it into like protein powders for different like agriculture and shit. So
look at this. I got mushrooms. I got different. These must be edible. I got all kinds of mushrooms under this crab apple tree in my front yard, and I don't know what they are.
Nice.
Do a spore print. Don't go eating them without fucking or guessing, because it might be fucking poison or just tasty.
The squirrels love this one. One of these.
So Jack, if you want to hunt some turkey, shoot me a DM because I got a spot.
I'd love to, man. Yeah, because I do a nice big Thanksgiving cooking with my wife every year. We do up a nice turkey, but I'd rather fucking go hunt it and cook the bird that you hunt.
Yep.
I think that'd add another extra special layer to the equation each Thanksgiving. But with that said, I am actually going to get running. It's been great talking with you all. Rez, great to see you. SoCal, good seeing you. Eagle, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, even though I was just on the call in this night, no video, but always a pleasure fucking talking shit with Eagle. And I guess I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace and love. I'll hang.
See you, Jack.
Eagle wants to say something before I run. Last time he's like, "Oh wait, before you go," as I fucking sign out. So
appreciate you, Jack, man. Thank you very much for popping in, man. Much needed.
No worries. Always good catching up, Eagle, and whatever way you want to take it, we'll be here to support you, brother. Peace and love. Always.
Thanks, Jack.
Oh man, have a good one. Oh shit! I pulled over because I didn't want to drive into the sun because my windshield's all fucked up on my truck from like the desert sand. You know, it's all pitted and shit. So driving into the sun, you're pretty much blind. And I came like 3/4 of the way down the mountain, and I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna pull over and fucking jump on Eagle for a minute and check out the sunset. Now I'm like, fuck, I'm too high to go home.
Well, you got anxiety or paranoia or what?
No, we've been what's the politically correct way? We've been babysitting my mother-in-law since April.
Oh, okay.
And like I just don't want to go home.
She not well? Is she sick?
She yeah, she had a couple of strokes 6-7 years ago, and it fucked her up pretty bad. And then right between Thanksgiving and Christmas, she had another one that they don't understand how she actually survived that one. So we sent her out to my sister-in-law's house because, you know, sister-in-law's got kids. She's out in Texas, and we figured, you know, perfect grandma time, you know, because grandma can't take care of herself anymore. So send her out, spend some time with the grandkids. She was out there for a month and a half, and the sister-in-law called up and she says, if you don't come pick her up, I'm going to fucking kill somebody.
Oh, man.
So we've had her, and I'm at the point where I'm about to call the sister-in-law and like be like, look, fucking tag, you're it.
Oh, man. Well, I feel really blessed then because I just found out, I heard it, but I didn't know when it happened. But they said that I was talking to my sister. One of the good things that's really come out of this, because I haven't talked to my sister in years.
Did he freeze? Or is it us?
No, he froze.
All right.
I thought it was me because I got 50 feet up the road. I don't get service. So
Am I still froze now?
No.
now you're back.
Okay. But what happened is that, my mom had another stroke, in 2021. So she hadn't been going upstairs since the fall of 2021 until she passed away in 2023. And it's like, wow, my parents didn't say anything. Dad didn't say anything. Mom didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. She just like, no, I'm just staying downstairs now. And I just, sleeping in a chair, sleeping in a recliner. My brother didn't say anything. Nobody. It's just weird. But no, that's just like I would have came home and found that out, and I'd have been upset because nobody told me, right? So,
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, I kind of went through that same shit with my mom. I was living out in Johnny Canniseed's neck of the woods when my mom passed, and nobody told me she had cancer. She was diagnosed in October, passed away in January. I didn't find out until right before Christmas. I got a call that she was in the hospital asking for me and my sister. And then she passed right after New Year's. And I come home to find the family saying, oh, you know, you're an asshole. You know, we asked you multiple times to come back and help and this and that. And I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even fucking know about this until, 3 weeks ago. So I know how you feel with that shit, man.
well, it's a protection thing, right? My parents were very protective of their words, right? And they didn't want anybody worrying about them. My dad had set himself up so he never had to go to a nursing home. He was always going to be able to afford in-house care, even if he had to pay it out of his pocket. So that's the way he designed his life, because he didn't want to go to a nursing home and he didn't want to be somebody else taking care of him outside his own home. He never wanted to have to leave his own place. And he didn't get that chance because he dropped one day and was gone the next. But I just respect it. I respect that confidence, right? I expect if I was talking bad, or any of us were talking bad about one sibling, the parent would never say something to the other sibling that about the conversation.
Right.
And it was a weird situation. It was a weird dynamic that you just don't see a lot of times, because most people are like backbiting and, oh, it's so and so said, and this person said, and that person said, and I'm like, you didn't get that with my parents. With whatever was the conversation between you and them, it was going to stay right there unless you told the other person. They weren't going to. They wanted peace in their family. They didn't want strife, so they weren't going to go to the next person and can tell you, "Oh, your brother said this about you." Sometimes you'd like to know, because you're like, "Oh shit, I'm going to see my brother. What am I running into?"
It's funny because I talked to my sister the other day for the first time since my wedding back in 17.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And her and I do not get along at all. She's one of those people that feels like the world owes her something because she was born. But I was talking to my dad, and he mentioned he wanted to go do an elk hunt, and that my sister wanted to go with him. And I ended up telling my dad, I was like, well, let's book it. Let's go. 2 hours later, I get a call from my sister. Hey, I heard you wanted to book an elk hunt for Dad. I was like, no, I wanted to book an elk hunt for me and Dad. That little fucking asshole actually offered to split the cost.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So we're gonna split the cost for him to go elk hunting next year.
There you go.
We're gonna all three go.
That's pretty cool. See, that's a good thing, right? I mean, somebody you haven't seen in a while, maybe you don't get along with.
Right.
Things happen, and you want to repair those relationships. You're like, I'd like to, because the one who tried to do the damage to me, he had a bad day at work, and then he said he was coming down here, and he's like, if you're, well, this is what the text was. If he used my first name that I don't typically use online. He said, he sent it to me. He said, if he was saying it to everybody in the text, all 4 siblings. He said, if he's there when I get there, he said, things ain't going to end well. This is a guy I've already had he had to go to jail when he put a gun in my face, and I disarmed him.
Oh, shit.
I didn't mess around with this time. I went right to that place everybody doesn't want to do, because I am not that person anymore. I don't want to deal with it. They have rules for this stuff. If you're going to get violent, and it's violent, I'm going to the guys who are armed for violence. If there's a war, I'm going to the soldiers. The soldiers are the ones that take care of it. Bring the soldiers in, man. I was a soldier, right? If you need me to be a soldier, I guess I'll have to be a soldier. But there's other guys in town that are soldiers, and they're supposed to deal with this stuff. Guess what? I talked to one of them. He's like, I can't do anything. He said, I can't do anything to preempt a violence. I was like, so you're gonna wait till something happens and you got to come, but one of us is dead? He's like, basically. He said, I don't want that to happen. I was like, well, I'm just telling you. I said, I just want you to know when something happens. You see this text message here? I want you to know, so I have an upper hand on this. And I never would have been the guy to go to the PO, to the cop to do something. But at this point in my life, I thought it was the best thing to tell my brother, I'm going to the police with this. If you're going to come at me again, where you already hurt me and you already put me in a situation where you put a gun in my face and I had to take it away from you, you almost dragged me to death with a tractor. You come here against me, you can just deal with the guys who write the laws. Right. That's the way it is, right? All the other stupid laws I don't care about. When it comes to violence and harming people, if you're going after my neighbor and the police are down there and I can't do anything, I'm calling the guys with the guns to stop you from hurting my neighbor. What else can I do? I mean, if I can't take care of it, I gotta I'm paying the tax dollars for those guys, right? Now if you're out there doing cannabis, I don't give a shit. If you're doing something that doesn't hurt anybody, I don't give a shit. But if you start hurting people, because if I do something about it, then they're going to throw me in jail for it. So I don't like getting threatened, and I'm not a big fan of being threatened like that. So when he did it, I told him, I said, you come here and you can deal with the law. And I talked to my sister today, and she's the peacemaker. She's so much both my mom and dad combined, and I missed it from being when I was a child. I haven't seen her much since I was 18, and that's been a long time. It was 40 years. I've seen her maybe 15 times in that time, and if that, and that's been spread out over years and years, and a lot of times. But having her say he was just having a really bad day that day. He was having it really bad. He said his job's super stressful, and he works for a company that's expecting high demand. And I don't know exactly what he does. I mean, I know he's in networking. He's a network engineer, but he just having a problem with his boss. I was like, okay. I said, but you saw what he said. She's like, yeah, I saw what he said, but he was having a bad day. And he said he's let that go. He's past that. Because what
Yeah,
had happened is that when your parents die and things start happening and finances start happening, and I've learned some of the stuff you just want to be over. You want it to be over. You don't want to not have to go through the paperwork anymore. You want to not have to see the stuff anymore. You want to not have to process it anymore and get the emails from a four-way email that everybody's getting it. So I didn't really see that 2 weeks ago when he said it, but I mean, I get it, right? He's upset, and I guess I'm not giving him a benefit of doubt that he is upset. But man, when he threatened me, man, it was a whole different experience. I was like, oh, here I am again. I haven't had to deal with California. I haven't had to deal with somebody coming up on me in violence in a long time and just wanting to be violent. But he says he doesn't care in some ways, but I know he does. He loved my mom and dad in his own way, right? He did. I mean, he loved it, and he's just hurting in his own way. And I wish we weren't enemies, right? I mean, I'm not his enemy in the sense that I hate him. I would he never apologized. He never apologized for what happened. So it's a different situation when somebody says they say they're not sorry and they still talk shit about you. And it's just like, okay, man, I love you, but you're going to have to stay right over there. I don't want nothing to do with you, right? If you're going to apologize, come over here. I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a kiss. I love on you. But if you're going to hate on me, just, hey, man, why don't you just stay in your town?
That seems to be the California way lately, man. Fucking everybody wants to be better than everybody else and wants to start shit.
Well, boys, I hate to put an end to this, but it is that time.
This was
Right on.
Can we call this a rabbit hole? Was this kind of a rabbit hole?
I kind of miss the rabbit holes, to be honest with you, but it's pretty close to a rabbit hole.
Right.
But
Everybody's from Jack getting on talking to you to I'm talking now. It feels like a therapeutic hole. Mind therapeutic, right? I need the I don't know the word to use, but it's good to
mind unfuck session.
yeah.
Hey, there you go. There you go. If my brother, if you're out there, buddy, and you ever get on here and watch this, dude, I love you, man. I always have. You're my idol. You're my big brother. But I just can't put up with violence, man. But if you ever want to act loving and come around, there's some people around here who give you a lot of loving too. You would enjoy a lot of these people because I've been here almost 3 years and I thoroughly enjoyed the crowd.
All right,
Thanks,
guys. Well, Eagle, thanks for having us. Rez, I'm sorry, Eagle. Fuck you for having us. Rez, fuck off. Chat, I can't see you, so fuck y'all. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Hell yeah. Thanks for popping in, SoCal.
Hell yeah. See you Monday.
Right on. That'll be the last one before the race. Monday will be the last one for the race. The race is Saturday, but I don't think I'm not sure if I'm going to do one Thursday. If one of you guys want to take the helm for a Thursday night, let me know.
It sounds like a plan.
So
I'll send you a text and figure it all out.
Right, huh?
The race is on Saturday, right?
Yep.
And where's the race at? What town?
Flint, Michigan.
What's that? Is that a couple hours from you?
It's
2 hours from you?
it's 2 hours from here. I have yet to put my name in the registration yet, but tomorrow for sure, my name will be in the registration. I'm claiming my number 100% tomorrow. So
Okay, now are you going to go to Flint the night before?
I'm trying to debate on whether to go out a couple nights before or the night before. The race is early. It's 7 a.m.
Isn't today
So
Thursday?
yeah,
And the race is Saturday.
next Saturday.
Next Saturday. Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like, wait a second, we're behind here. If you're a couple of days, okay, that's maybe that's the Guinness talking. But yeah, man. So it's Flint, Michigan. It's next week, and it's 10 miles,
Yep.
and you're ready.
I'm trying to be. I'm as ready as I'm gonna be. I'm very confident. No matter what, I think, I'm gonna run them 10 miles. Am I gonna win that race first time out? Realistically, and in my heart, I'm gonna. But I'm gonna be happy to cross that line no matter what. And then there's always next year and time to critique. But let's get there, see what needs to be done, and then Cloud Cultivation's having their party this weekend, so I get to go from the race to a cup. So
wait a second. It's that same weekend is the Cup,
yeah,
and where's that at?
Cloud
What's
Like-
that date?
26.
26. Well, let's see. We'll see what happens. I might be in Michigan that weekend.
Hey, well, there's an airport in Flint. Cloud's like 3 miles away from Flint. So just saying.
I'll drive. I can get there. I mean, it's only 500-600 miles. That's
It's 5-6 hours, man. Something like that, ain't it? 500-600 miles. Oh no, that's probably
500-600 miles. Yeah, it's about 6 to Flint. It's probably, I would guess, about 620. I haven't mapped it yet, but that's 8.5 hours, 9.5 drivers for an extra truck driver. That's just a quick map.
I know when it comes to like later in the day, like Modern's gonna be at the Cup. Modern, there'll be a bunch of weed nerds at the Cup. Be nice if some of them hung out at that finish line 7 a.m. Saturday morning, but
The finish line. What time's the race start?
7 a.m. And if all goes well, very worst case, I should be running across that line about 9:45, unless they stagger us. You know what I mean?
Well, you're figuring about 9-minute miles.
No, I'm hoping for like between 7.5 to 8 minute miles. But
Well, you're talking more.
I
like
said worst case.
840.
Worst
Yeah,
case.
840. Wait a second. No, you'd be 820. You'd be like 820 at 7-minute miles. You'd be finished at 810.
That's well 7 miles would be. Let's see here. That'd be
70 minutes.
70 minutes. Yeah,
810.
an hour 10 minutes. My best times right now is probably about realistically about an hour and 17 minutes.
Damn, dude, that's pretty good, man. Wow, you got them
Trying to
legs.
tighten it up. Like tonight, I'm going to a little workout. I've been working like 3 hard days, taking a day off, and then but today's back to work day, so.
Man, you've been at it, but I didn't know your times were that good.
I've actually, you know what? I seen that just between me and you, and I guess everybody else. Now I fucking think that we're live, but I was sitting at the light today, and there's a race around town, September 1st, little 5K runner. I think I'm gonna fucking turn around and run that little shit. At that point, 5K, that's 3 miles. I should be able to zip right through that bitch.
Well, don't hurt yourself, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, and I'm gonna get up there. So, if I can get up there next weekend, I will. Damn Spectrum, I have a modem that's like 8 years old, 5 years old. They're like, oh, your modem for your phone. I got a house phone that I'm keeping with my dad's number just in case somebody would call up to his birthday in October, and then I'm gonna delete it. But they're like, your modem's like so dated. We can't do anything. She said, I can't change anything. She said, you got a modem that old? I'm like, you got me, man. I haven't had a house phone since 2008. I think when I left the farm, I gave up the house phone and cell phone combination. So it's like, but anyway, well, you have a good evening, everybody out there. Thanks for showing up, and to the ones who have been committed and stay committed, you're appreciated. And if you're out there and you haven't been on in a while and you did a show, then you need to jump in here and show Eagle that you still want to talk shit, right? So we appreciate all of you, and I appreciate being able to be here. I did my show almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago in September of 20. So I appreciate
it. I am proud as hell of that. You know what I mean? The relationship that's been put together, not even just like say me and you, but the relationships that's been put together on the sides and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, your Michigan crowd, man. Your Michigan crowd is amazing, right? They're committed. You have a certain group that are just like you were talking about. You wish Smiley was back doing the organic takeover because he did it really well, and he's super smart, and he knows all the questions to ask, right? He knows all the questions that the guy who can grow good, because you're a great grower either way, right? And he got you started on the what's that damn thing called? He brought you, I forget what they're called now. The
Earth boxes.
Earth box. Yeah, he brought you those Earth boxes. I mean, he brought them over. As soon as you said you wanted to try it, he was there with Earth boxes, right? And it's like, oh, you're gonna love it, man. It's just gonna be different than you ever did, and you're just gonna love it. And there's a group of those, you got in Michigan, especially, they're still there, right? I've watched them stay. So you're all appreciated out there. And thanks, Eagle. And I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm just gonna jump out of here. Later, man.
Later, brother. Have a great day.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
With that being said, this does wrap up episode 820.6. I do very much appreciate you guys, the relationships that have been built in the last few years. Moreover, the last relationship that's been built in many years. I've known a lot of you guys for a very long time. A lot of people think that this thing just happened to pop up and come together, but there's been a lot of work that's led up to this. This has just been the gravy in the cannabis life. With that being said, I am grateful for you, this life, and every breath I take to be able to change things that I want to change in life. With that being said, I'm gonna go fucking dig in and try to fucking get ready for this race. Don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. And with that being said, this guy is